live. I'll be honest, probably not going to get a whole lot of people on here just because I have not been active on YouTube. I have not been active on YouTube for quite some time, and only got like, I don't know, 1,700 subs. So we got 0 people watching. That's awesome. So I'm just gonna sit here and hang out and wait for people to show up. And once somebody shows up, if somebody shows up, then we'll start doing a little more talking. All right, we got one peep in the house. I don't know who it is. Leave a comment. Let me know who you are, who's watching, what's going on. Just waiting. Shannon Pike, what's up? Trying to get some more people on here, so like I'm not talking to a wall. I'm talking to you, but I need like 3 people and I'll start yapping. I'm gonna put this on my channel anyway, so it doesn't really matter, but I wanna engage with the viewer, with the person at the house in their beanbag chair eating Cheetos. But come on, one more, somebody. Shannon, send out a blast. I should have built it. They will come. I love it. Send out a blast. Matt Weeda's live. We need to get some people in here. All right, it's 6:19. When it hits 6:20, I'll start yapping. Now we got 2. We got 2. Let's go. Come on. One mo. We just need a little bit of time. Need a little bit of momentum to build up. All right, someone else has joined. Who are you? Who is watching the live show right now? All right, 6:20. I made a promise. I got to start talking. All right. I'm not gonna talk like I was about to start talking like I'm making a video. All right, guys. No, we're not doing that. It's 2 of y'all. But yeah, it is October 1st, and stuff is definitely starting to change. I got to Hydrilla gear yesterday, which is all the way down in Margate, like Deerfield area, and I got out of my truck and I'm like, damn, it's very nice outside. Like, it was dry, a little windy. It felt like October's supposed to feel like. I would like it to be like 20 degrees cooler, but we are still in South Florida, and you can only get what nature's going to give you. That hurricane offshore is definitely helping. I think it's changing the weather a little bit. I'm not a meteorologist. I got a D in meteorology in college, so I'm not claiming, but it's definitely, I think it's messing with the pressures and stuff, and I don't know. It sucked like the humidity out of, bro, it's definitely cooled off a bit, but yeah, for sure. Like, I don't know if it's like sucked the humidity out of our little zone here, but it definitely feels super nice, and I think the fish are going to start agreeing with that here pretty soon. The temperature really hasn't changed much. The lows are in the low 70s, so we're knocking on the door of the 60s for Okeechobee at least. So they're gonna start feeling that. The fish are definitely gonna like that. This September obviously was good for me. I won an ABA 2-day. We only had 15 boats, but day 1 there was also a refuse to sink tournament with like 50 something boats, and I had 26 pounds, and 22 won that tournament. So, you know, while there was 15 boats, I still had I would have been leading my tournament. I would have won that tournament. Not saying anything like that, like, oh, I should have fished that one or anything like that. It's not even close to that. I got an eagle head. I'm good with it. But Saturday was like that first day was a great, incredible day. I made like every possible right move I could have made that day. Caught 2 7s doing something absolutely crazy that I don't think anyone would really expect. Like the first one, you're like, okay, he got lucky. And then when I went and caught the second one doing the same thing, I'm like, there ain't no freaking way, dude. But and I caught some big ones just fishing normal, so to speak. And it wasn't scoping. None of it was scoping. I've had my live scope on perspective pretty much the last 5 trips I've been out there, and it hasn't helped me like one bit, honestly. Like I've been able to drag my jig down the side of a tilapia, and that's about it. It's pretty much just fishing. But September hasn't fished like September. Like it is like it's very. So September on Okeechobee, and I made a video, I meant to put it out, I never did, so I'm going to wait till next year and just make another one. But anyways, September is very sporadic. Like every day is different. If you catch 25, 26, 27, 30 pounds like I did, I had 26. To go out the next day and back it up is so god dang tough. Like, I'm not going to say impossible. But I mean, I was talking to Kyle Monty. He won the Lake and Trail. He had 29 pounds, and we were talking. And I'm like, and he said, if I went out there tomorrow, I don't know if I'd had 10 pounds. And that's saying a lot from a guy who caught 29. I mean, we haven't seen 29 pounds caught in months. And I catch 20. A couple weeks ago, Ronnie Buck had 25 in Bass Busters. Then I caught 26, and then Kyle had 29. So the weights are building a little bit. But like first to second is like a lot of pounds difference, like 5 to 8 pounds difference from first to second. Like it's like one guy figures it out that day, and then day two, and then second place, it just drops way off. And to back it up, it hasn't been easy. I mean, the following weekend, Ronnie only had 16, which don't get me wrong, that's like a B value right now. Like if you have 16 plus, you're doing the right thing, you're on the right track, or you got lucky and got a couple big bites. But that's what's going on this time. That's what's going on in September, is you have to be at the right place at the right time doing the right thing to get those bigger bites. And those bigger bites are not guaranteed from that point on. Like you're not going to be able to duplicate that later that day or the next day even. And that's just September. Usually in September, there's a lot of bait balls. There's big balls of shad everywhere. You see them on top. You see fish schooling, or you're in an area for a while and you notice there's something going on. You go over there and there's 100 fish that are schooling. While I did find schoolers, it was one pack of fish. They were not very big. Biggest one I caught out of there was like not even 2 pounds. And they were not feeding on shad. I caught one that spit up a baby bluegill about that big. So it was feeding on bluegill fry, but they were there on Friday before the ABA, and they were there on Sunday the ABA. And I catch like 10 fish out of it, and none of them helped me, of course. But there's been like a lack of shad, at least visibly, on the lake. Like I've been in some areas, I've got perspective going. You could see like a little ball of bait that might be that big, but it might be them premature bluegills that them bass were feeding on. So I don't even know if they were shad. So it's a weird deal. Like usually that's one of the patterns that you bank on in September. It's like, all right, I'm looking for a ball of bait or an area that's got a lot of bait present. Like you see the shad flipping, and then you can just go flip the reeds in there and catch them. You don't have to throw a white chowder bait or a frog or nothing. Like you can just, hey, there's bait in the area, there's fish in the area, and just go flipping or something. Like, and that's the other thing about September. They're really not on a moving bait a whole lot. It's like usually most times a year, throw a frog, throw a chatterbait, throw a trap, throw, swim jig, a big easy, whatever. Dude, the amount of fish that I caught flipping this past month, which I went out pre-practice one weekend, one Saturday, and the ABA I went Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then I went last Friday, and then I fished Lake Control. That's 6 days. So I spent 6 days on the lake in the month of September, which isn't a lot, but it was like towards the end, I was getting in tournament mode. I finally got my boat put back together, so I went out when I could. And dude, the amount of fish I caught flipping or dragging a fat ace versus throwing a moving bait, all right, buddy, just cut right in front of me. Now go right ahead. You're in it. It's like 7-1. It's not even close. And you think September, there's bait around, and the one thing I think this September, there wasn't a whole lot of moving bite going on, just a lack of shad. There's nothing that they're really chasing, so why are they going to chase your stuff? And the ABA did weigh in one fish on a chatterbait. It was almost a 4-pounder. First thing in the morning, caught it within the first 5 casts, and then it just went and it shut off after that. And I couldn't get a bite there again. Went back there the second day. In the morning, lost one on a trap. Went back there again later in the day, caught one little one on a chatterbait. And then besides those little schooling fish, those are schooling fish. Those are removed. That's a completely different group of fish. I'm talking about like fishing fish, like just going around and just fishing. Had about 5 bites on a frog between those 6 trips. I've heard other people getting bit on a frog and topwater and stuff, but it's just flipping has been like the #1 performer of September. But that's September. Coming into October, October is going to be completely different on the lake. My buddy Cody, he said he may or may not have found or gotten around some spawning fish the other day. So, and I'm starting to think there's a lot going on right now. Days are obviously getting shorter. That happens every year. But it's starting to get a little bit drier, which helps. It's getting a little bit cooler, which helps. The wind's picking up, which helps. And all this, what I'm saying, helps. It helps drop that water temperature down and make it at least feel like fall for these fish. The water's coming up, and it's at like that 13.5 range right now, which I feel like when this time of year, when that water level gets up, which it seems to always get up late September, like every single year, never fails. It'll be low all summer, then it comes up in September, October. When all that happens, them fish are like, all right, it's time to spawn. And on top of all that, we're coming up on a full moon. So the fish feel the moon, they feel the weather, the water's coming, like everything is lining up for these fish to spawn. But I will say, with a giant asterisk, is every time, like in the last couple of years, every time we're like, okay, everything's lining up. We got a cold front, which we don't have a cold front right now, but I'm just saying, we got a cold front, we got the weather, we got the water's right, this is right, the moon, and then like nothing happens, and it takes like 19 pounds to win. Happens a lot. So I'm not promising anything by saying any of this, but I'm just saying it's all headed in that direction. And from what I've heard people saying, I think this weekend for Rollins, it's the bags and the leaderboard is going to look a lot different than it has been for September, the whole month of September. I think there's going to be a lot more mid-20s bags. There's definitely going to be a high 20s bag. I don't doubt that. I don't know about 30. 30-pound bags always hit or miss. But high 20s, I think it's going to definitely north of 25, 26 is going to win this weekend in Rollins. And I think it's going to be someone who lands on those spawning fish. I think it's definitely going to be, I don't think it's going to be any schooling fish. I don't think, somebody might find some staging fish, but it's definitely going to be revolved around some kind of spawning activity. September, it's very hit or miss for spawners on Okeechobee. It's like everything's got to be right. And like this past couple weekends, I don't think the fish have really been spawning much. I've talked to some people who say they've been around some, they swear they're spawning, but they've all, it's dwindled on them in the tournament. I've heard of a lot of people who are on them for lake and trail, like, you know, like, oh, I had 30, 40, 50, 60 bites, or I think I can go catch 15 pounds in the morning, and they get skunked. Like their whole pattern completely disintegrated. Like I said, that's September, but October, things definitely tend to stabilize a little bit. The weather seems to be a little bit more stable. It's just not going to get quite that hot as it does in September. And the presence of bait, like September, it's like the bait's a lot higher in the water column and a lot more roamy. Like they kind of get around a little bit more. October's not quite like that. I feel like October, the bait's a lot more wind driven, which it usually is on the lake, but it seems like October, that wind really dictates, you know, where that bait's going. And I feel like the bait stays in that area for a longer period of time. Hence, you could find fish that are on bait and stay on them for, you know, maybe a couple days. As long as the wind doesn't change crazy directions. Like if you get a northeast wind and it pushes that bait in there and it switches east, I feel like that bait's still going to be in there. Or if it goes east to northeast, whatever. But if it goes like northeast to southeast, or northeast to south, or northeast to north, like a fairly decent wind change, it might blow your bait out, or it might just scatter the bait out to where they were, like maybe they were concentrated in like a 1 acre area before, and now the wind switches and they kind of like, they just disperse a little bit. And what that does more than anything is it makes the bass less predictable, and they just get off of those. Maybe, you know, the bass had this one hard spot or this reed head or whatever that he was sitting on, and he was able to ambush the bait every so often. Now the bait moves, the wind changes, the bait moves, scatters out or completely leaves, and now that reed head is almost completely useless to that same fish that was gorging his ass off, you know, 3 days prior. So stuff like that. But last October, I got on a really good group of schooling fish. I was actually able to win a ghosts and goblins off of them. Found them in the middle of the week. I just went out there to go pre-fish. They came up schooling, got on them pretty good. Revisit them in the tournament, honestly, with very little. I didn't have much faith in them. It was like kind of like a C or a D plan. I roll up there and didn't catch any where they were schooling, and then I started fishing around and literally hung a rock with my trap. Or I don't know if it was a rock, but there was something there that kept hanging my trap. I was able to get it back most of the time, but I hang that rock, and next cast I throw it back at it and catch a 4.5, 5 pounder. And I'm like, I guarantee you this is the deal. And I kept throwing back. We had to kind of move around and, you know, let it rest, come back, but basically ended up catching 17, 18 pounds off that one spot and won the tournament. And it was just a super tough day. It was super windy, super tough, just one of them deals, and we were able to win the tournament off that one spot. I hope it doesn't get that tough again this year. I don't think it will. It's tough now, but I feel like it's going to start progressively getting a little bit better. I don't know. I got a good feeling about the lake this fall and upcoming spring. It's just, there's a lot of hay fields growing. There's a lot of hay fields around. One thing about those hay fields that I didn't like to see, I was in some areas where the bottom tends to be a little bit softer. I saw a lot of them uprooted and blown in. Let me see if I got, okay, no. If you guys want to leave comments or want to ask me questions or whatever, just drop them in below. But I saw a lot of those hay, like basically like a bed of hay where it's got like 20 strands, and like the root ball, and you could see the root ball in the mud, and the whole clump of mud came up with like 5 of those clumps in it and blew against the hard line. And I'm like, that's not good. But I'm hoping that's only in areas with soft bottom. Maybe the wind got wrong or blew in there. Whatever, the wind's gonna do what the wind's gonna do. The water's gonna keep coming up. Some stuff that you see now is not gonna be in the same place next week. And whether it's uprooted, whether it's an island, right now, with everything getting cooler, water coming up, wind blowing, the Okeechobee of September is not gonna be the same Okeechobee of October, 100%. This is the month of change for Okeechobee. I mean, this is the month of, to me, this is one of the biggest months of change across the entire country. This is like the first real month of fall. This is where everything starts getting a lot cooler. Everything's first changing, but on Okeechobee especially, everything's gonna start changing because of the water and all that. I already went over that twice. I hate repeating myself, but I still think there's a good bit of hay. I think a topwater moving bait bite, swim jig bite, it's going to get, when it gets right and the fish pull up the spawn, they're going to use, to me, that is a Okeechobee bass's #1 preferred cover / grass. Hydrilla is great. Eelgrass is great. Cattail heads, buggy whip, hard lines, mats, all that is great. Obviously mats, when it gets cooler, that's where they're going to want to be. But fair weather, fish want to spawn, they love that hay. I don't know if it's where it grows, how it grows, or what, but it's something. I think personally, one deal might be that those strands are so tightly grown together that they can lay their eggs, and their eggs can kind of catch at the bottom of where it starts sprouting. That could be part of it, but I just know an Okeechobee bass loves hay. You find hay, you find it in clean water, and it's protected, and the bottom's, you know, a little bit harder, or especially if you find like the sand bottom, it's gonna be really good. If you find all that, perfect. Pick up your Big Easy, your Easy Swimmer, Gambler Poppin' Frog, and just cover water. That's and swim jig too. You have to cover water. If there's one thing that has saved my ass in September so far, and you know, won me a tournament and got me and Nick in the top 10, it's moving. You have to keep moving, because the one thing I've noticed is when you get around the fish, they're aggressive. They're chasing your bait back to the boat. They usually, if you're flipping, they eat it in the first drop, or you might have to work it a couple times. But I think if that fish was in the area and you flipped it in there, first drop, she would eat it. I think when you have to bring it up and down a couple times, there's a fish 5 feet away that heard your bait come in, and she's hearing, I think they hear your braid zipping on the grass, or they feel the bait, hear the bait, something, but you're bringing that fish to your bait and they're eating it. I don't think it's, you dropped it on the fish and he's like, okay, I'll eat it. I don't think it's that. I think it's the fish sees it and he eats it. He's on a seafood diet. He sees it, he eats it. But that was like the biggest mind, you know what I'm trying to say, of September's. The fish are, they're not in like a bad state or a bad mood. They're just not that many up around where you can just roll up and just go to catch them. You know what I mean? It's like you're gonna grind one here, you're gonna grind one here. You can get around a pot of fish to where they're together, but it was a lot of hunting and pecking and just milling around and just keeping that trolling motor moving. And I mean, that's the, and no 2 days are the same in September. But like I said, we're out of September, we're into October. There's gonna be a lot more days that go together that are gonna be the same, that are gonna be, October's a really fishy month across the country, but Okeechobee especially. But October, you got bait, you got a more stable wave of spawners starting to come in. I mean, the weather in October is mostly stable. We're not going to see like a huge cold front that's just going to wreck everything. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's just consistently cooling weather, consistent weather, and that just makes the fish comfortable. The water's slowly rising, which might as well be slowly rising water is natural to the fish. Steady water level is natural to the fish. Falling water level means two things to the fish. One, us U.S. Army, whoever, we are the ones lowering the water. That is unnatural. The fish know it, and they get weirded out by it. I'm not saying the water's going to fall in October. I'm just saying in general. That's not normal. And if the water is falling and at a rate to where they can really notice it and is unnatural, well, I'm talking about unnatural, but whatever. If the water's falling, then that means something downstream or is going down. Like something broke and they're losing water. Like water falling, especially in Okeechobee, is unnatural to the fish. Water rising, that's every day for them. Like they're used to that water coming up. So the fish are stable, they're comfortable. That's the number one thing. Hang on, let me check one thing. Somebody sent me something else. I'm trying to make sure my live stream was good. It's getting a little dark for these glasses, but god dang, I lost my train of thought. Anyways, water rising is natural to these fish. So everything about the conditions on the lake are stable. So if you find spawning fish, I think they're going to stick around a little bit. But there's going to be a lot of bait influence if the bait shows up. I will say there was one day, the first day of the ABA when I had 26 pounds, I was coming back in a little bit earlier. And I stopped in one area to check some stuff out, and I seen like 10 seagulls diving offshore, and I'm like, here we go. I picked up my trap, just started firing around. I was using live scope, just looking around, and I saw bait, but I did not see any fish, and the birds were just hauling ass. You couldn't keep up with them, but there was a lot of bait in the area, so I'm like, that's a good sign. And then I ran by them the next day, and they're all gone twice. But I think the bait that is living offshore, I think more of it's going to start showing up shallow, especially when we start getting these cooler winds. And between that and spawning fish, I think that's what October is really about. You're going to start losing a lot of these. You're not going to have to junk fish as more. Like September, you got to junk it around a little bit. October, it's going to be a lot more. It's going to become more pattern driven and spot and area driven. The fish are going to stay a little bit longer, and everything's going to be a little bit more stable, especially as the month progresses. And then October or November, that's going to be a different story, but that'll be a different video. But if you guys want, I'm going to stick around here for just a minute longer. Leave some comments. Ask me a question. If not, I'm going to wrap this up here fairly soon. See if I can think of anything to talk about. I got like a 30 minute drive home, so just trying to pop a little piece of gum in. Get behind this oversized load. Not freaking wreck. Let's see, what else we got to talk about? I guess one thing we can talk about is what I'm fishing next year. Next year, I'm like 95% if the schedule works out, and by looking at it, it's going to, is BFLs. I think I'm fishing every BFL in the Gator division next year. For one, the schedule looks good. I'm not super schedule driven for the most part, until you start getting to like a little bit bigger tournaments. Then it's like, okay, do I really want to do this? Like BFL, whatever they want to give me, whatever they want to do, is I'll go and do it. We've started the year off on Okeechobee, Kissimmee, Harris, St. John's. Honestly, I don't care where we start, because I like January for different reasons than you might. For spawning, it's usually tough. I like tough tournaments. I seem to thrive in tough tournaments. I don't know why. I feel like I move around a lot. I move around pretty good, but ironically, it seems like in the tough tournaments, I seem to find like a home base and kind of camp out. Maybe not camp out, but I seem to usually find like one area and stay there all day. Now that I think of it, that's like my January summed up. I always find one spot or one area, and I may not know that I may know that I'm not going to be able to win it out of there, but I know that I can catch some good fish and sneak out of there with a check, which is not, at this stage of the game, it's not what I want to do, but when you get this, you have to realistically say, all right, what am I on? How's the fishing right now? Can I go find fish tomorrow potentially, or am I just really risking, getting a 0 or catching 2 fish tomorrow? So, sometimes you got to get like 3 bites in one area, and one of them's like a 2.5, 3 pounder. You're like, all right. And then, practice is over. You're like, all right, this is where we're gonna camp out. I don't like to do that, but sometimes you catch bigger ones, and it leads to a lot better day than you ever thought it would be. So, but I go off on tangents. Did I fish today? I did not fish today. Tomorrow's Thursday, I'm going to work tomorrow. Friday, I have a guide trip on the lake. I'm going to go do that. I'm going to go practice after for the roll-ins, and hopefully I find something good. Hopefully I find some spawners. That'd be very nice. That'd be very nice. If not, I'm just going to go right back to where I've been fishing the last 2 weekends. But yeah, did not fish today. What's going on, people? Why are we doing 57? Come on. A Nissan Murano up there, he's got to get with it. This is not ideal. But next year, BFLs. The schedule does look good though. It's like Okeechobee's the first one, and I think it's like Kissimmee, Harris, or something like that, and then Super on St. John's, which they just got done with the Super on the St. John's. It was probably one of the toughest Supers ever. I talked to a couple buddies of mine. Forget Parker Stalvey winning. Like, that's like an asterisk you gotta put. Like, Parker Stalvey won. Like, we knew he was gonna win. It was him or Lee. It's like, those are the dudes on that river. Like, you're not gonna beat them. If you do, they both had an off week. Like, it's very rare that they do not win a tournament on the St. John's River. Like, if there was a Toyota next year, on St. John's, I'd be like, congrats, Lee, or congrats, Parker. It's like, those two are the ones to beat. But Super's gonna be on the St. John's. I like the St. John's River in September. I like the St. John's River in January. I like it in February. I like it in March. Never been there in April. Never been there in May. Can't speak for that. But I like the St. John's River. I got a little something figured out up there that I wanted to do this past weekend, but I figured it was smart to fish for 10 grand on the home pond instead of trying to win 5 grand somewhere else. And the way things set up this past weekend, it did not set up for my style of fishing on St. John's. So I kind of not dodged a bullet, but I made the right decision on what tournament to fish this weekend. There's a guy in this shoulder with his hazards on, like paralleling traffic. Like, makes no sense. Like, what are you doing? I don't know. People are crazy. That's the guy that was slowing us down earlier. There we go. And then the Super, or not the Super, the regional is on Lake Eufaula, which is where I led after the first day. I think was it last year? No, it was the year before. I led after the first day. I literally was on, I had one day of, I'd never been there. It's all on YouTube if you guys want to go watch it. Just don't have the third day on there. Nothing really happened, and I think that ship has sailed for me to post that. But I went up there. I barely got off the time from work to go even fish a tournament, and my boss was like, I worked for a yacht back then, and my captain had no idea about tournament fishing. He's like, oh yeah, what days do you need? I'm like, tomorrow to like next Saturday. He's like, I can't do that, because it was like a last minute. They called me last minute. It was this whole ordeal. But he's basically like, and I'm like, well, I need to go to the meeting on Wednesday, which there wasn't a meeting. I may have fibbed a little bit. I'm like, I gotta make this meeting on Wednesday or they won't let me fish. He's like, all right, give me Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I'm like, all right. So I got off work Tuesday. I brought my boat with me. Met up with my buddy Tyler Nicolini. Drove all night. Got there, and in the morning, we got there like 4 in the morning. I may have slept for 30 minutes or an hour after we got there, and then I pulled. Then it literally had not rained there for 3 months, and literally the second we get there, it starts raining. And practiced for day, had some bites, had some decent bites. Went and ran that all first day of the tournament, did not get a single bite, and I'm like, all right, let's just go somewhere and go fishing. And pull up in this one creek, picked up. What I got was like 2 casts later, it was like a 3-pounder, and I missed it. I'm like, cannot afford to be missing them. So I pulled the swim jig out of the box, started swim jigging. I'm like, if they'll eat a frog in this stuff, they'll eat a swim jig. And they started annihilating the swim jig. And I had 21 pounds that first day and started leading it. And after that, everything really changed. And I didn't, that was the one downside of not having any practice. I had really nothing to fall back on. I started running a ton of new water. Got on some fish towards the end of the second day, which kind of led me astray on the third day. I went to those fish, struck out on day 3 on them pretty much, and then actually drew Tyler the third day, and he's like, hey, I got some deep fish that my boater took me to. He said, it's good if I take you to them. I'm like, I don't want to do that. Like, that's not my deal. And then the last hour of the day, I'm like, all right, let's go do it. He goes, oh, they're 20 miles that way. I'm like, and we ended up finding some deeper fish that I marked in practice, and Tyler ended up catching some fish off them and made the All-American. I didn't, but it is what it is. I've missed All-American by like a pound or two, like 2 or 3 different times. It's not cool, but whatever. Anyways, so yeah, I'm really looking forward of going back to Eufaula. I'm pretty sure I'm fishing the Toyotas next year. Like, I miss the Toyota. Listen, I fished the Bassmaster Opens this year. I did not light the world on fire. I did not catch a check. I got close at Kentucky Lake. I had 4 fish day 1. If I would have had my 5th day 1, I would have probably catch a check based on the average of fish I was catching, blah, 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 whatever. Other than that, I sucked it up. Rayburn, I sucked it up. Kentucky Lake, I did okay, obviously. Third one was Norfolk, home of Bass Cat, baby. I sucked it up bad. Like, I feel like I did a better job at Rayburn, and I sucked at Rayburn. There, I just, like, I could not get traction doing anything. And for the weight that I caught, I'm like, okay, we're going to fish the second day. I think I'm going to be like, top 100. No, like 158th. And they cancel the rest of the tournament. I'm like, so that is what that was. But overall, I don't know what it was about the Bass Opens. I just didn't get like the people I stayed with are great. I stayed with my buddy Rob. I stayed with Aaron Yavorsky for the last 2. Awesome. Couldn't ask for better roommates. Had a great time with them. But the overall feel of the tournament, this is not like a BASS thing. It's just the Opens. It was just had this feel to it that I just didn't jive with. Like, everything felt super serious. There was a lot more rules, which was kind of annoying. I'm not even gonna lie, it's kind of annoying. I get it, you're trying to qualify for the elites and this and that, blah, 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 but there's a lot of rules, and you had to, they would do these random drawings on the off day of if you had to go to where they did the meeting to get your boat inspected, to see if you had the right inches of graphs, which I get, you're trying to enforce it, but I feel like that should be like the first tournament of the year, yeah, you do it, and then the rest, just let it ride, but they didn't want to do that. I got pulled for one tournament, which I thought was hilarious, because I'm just not going to go over that limit. It's just not me. And I don't know, it wasn't for me. And I saw a video, Andrew Upshaw talking to Brad Fuller from MPFL. Towards the end of that podcast, he starts talking about how the Opens just weren't fun for him, how it was like basically everything I'm saying that I've been saying for the last couple months, he said it like almost exactly. It's a different feel. It's not fun. Dude, when I go fishing, stay in your lane, buddy. When I go fishing, I want to have fun. I get it. I'm fishing for money. It's this. I'm paying an entry fee. It's this. But I still want to have fun. Toyotas, to me, are a freaking blast. The only thing I don't like about Toyotas is that there's no info rule. Like, you could do whatever you want. There is literally no designated practice. Therefore, there's no designated off limit. So you could just, if you want to fish with 10 people in your boat, first day of practice, go ahead and do it. I apologize. This is a little shaky. The roads are a little wobbly. And I'm doing 82 miles an hour. That doesn't help. Let me slow down a little bit. But yeah, just Toyotas are always a good time. I've never, even like my worst years fishing with Toyota, like performance-wise, I've had a blast. I remember every single tournament. It's just something about it. It's just the feel. You see a lot of your buddies. Usually you get an Airbnb or a house. You stay with a bunch of your buddies. It's always a week to remember. It's kind of like a vacation for me. It's a good excuse to get away for a week and go do your own thing. And I don't know, Toyotas, they got this feel to it. I love it. Those are my favorite tournaments. For entry fee to pay out is the best. The people you fish with are the best. You still got a good mix of pros in there that really, I mean, they're always in the money. Just seems about every time. So you get to kind of stack yourself up against, the highest level guys. You don't know who's ever going to freaking show up and fish them. It's honestly a really good time. I like Toyotas more than anything. I think I'd rather fish a week Toyota than go on a week vacation anywhere else. Just about. So do the BFLs, do those. There's a chance I might fish a couple of the first events of the pro circuit. First one is it Kissimmee or Harris? I don't even know. I think it's Kissimmee, or it might be Harris. Doesn't matter. Second one is at Sandy Cooper. You guys have heard me talk my freaking ass off about Sandy Cooper 100 times. I love that place with a burning passion. I don't know. It's like they're like Okeechobee fish, but you have two different lakes, and Marion, the North Lake, is like two different lakes in itself, because you have like the main lake, and then you go north of the bridge, totally different animal. This thing is shaking so much. But those are like Okeechobee fish with contour lines, if that makes sense, and trees. It's like, and now they have a lot of grass. You got a lot of hydrilla in there now, which it's going to make that place really great. They've had it in there for about 2 or 3 years now, and it's going to be, I'm not going to say come back strong, because that place has not struggled at all the last 5 or 10 years, but it's going to be even better. It's going to be like Lake Fork status. I swear to God, that place has got them. And now that it's got the cover to house even more bait, fry, and everything else, but that's going to be, but I can't wait to go back there if I end up fishing it. A couple things have to line up sponsorship wise. I just got to see how all that plays out. But I really, 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 really want to go back there. And third one's Wheeler. Not thrilled about that at all. But hey, everyone's on the same lake at the same time. You got to figure it out. There's gonna be something to figure out 100%, especially that time of year. I think it's gonna be like April, so fish are gonna be shallow. I'll be able to figure something out in that one. But the biggest thing about MLF next year that I am a huge fan of is 30% forward-facing sonar every tournament, every day of every tournament. I like that. Listen, some people have called me Okeechobee because I've been known to break out the live scope on Okeechobee and make some stuff happen. Last year, it worked out great for me. I won 5 or 6 events on the lake, and I used live scope in some way, shape, or form to catch at least one of my fish every day in all those events. I'll admit it. It's a tool and it's available. The water was high, made it very convenient to use it, and it worked. It's just, listen, you're fishing in a competitive environment. You have to use all the tools at your disposal, and I chose to use live scope, and it chose to work for me. So so far, this, like I said, this month or last month, completely irrelevant. Pretty much this year has been completely irrelevant for me for the most part. Besides some river fish, but we ain't gonna talk about that. But yeah, I like, and this is selfish, on Okeechobee. Yeah, let me make sure I don't crash here. On Okeechobee, let's use live scope because it works. It literally works 30% of the time, so whatever. But traveling, listen, I just want to go fishing, dude. I don't want to have to go out in 40 feet of water and rig up 3 minnows and 2 jerk baits. That's just not me. I can do it. It's not my strong suit. And the thing is, here's what pissed me off the most about live scope. We're gonna go on a live scope thing for a minute. Is growing up, you never saw these rookies just burst on the scene and just start winning straight out of the gate. It was, some of them did, but some of them had some experience before, whatever. We can't all be Jacob Wheeler. We couldn't all be Derek Remitz. We couldn't all be Kevin Van Dam. Listen, it's just reality. But as if the pattern of age and tournament fishermen is your 20s, you're learning, you have great tournaments, you have great years, but it's not consistent. And once you cracked into, like, once you got to like 30 years old, it's like when your youth, your knowledge, everything just kind of rolls into one perfect package, and your 30s is when you freaking catch them. Well, I'm starting to approach, I'm 33 now, but I'm approaching my 30s, and this thing called live scope comes out. And now guys who have never caught them before are catching them. This is not really a Florida deal. Some people, but no. This is a cross-country deal. People who didn't catch them before are now freaking all-stars. And just these dudes come like 19, 20, 21. They just burst onto the freaking tour and they're just kicking everyone's ass. Like, to me, I'm like I get it. There's high school fishing, there's college fishing. I get all that. But if you say live scope is not a player in any of that younger group coming out and dominating, Really? Come on. But anyways, I like that because that means, I guess it's 33% of the time, whatever. 66% of the time, your fishing is going to be fishing. You got to be like, Where are the bass? What do I got to throw? Oh, one bumped my bait. What do I got to change? What do I got to do? Like, it's not like, oh, she's following a minnow. Let me just speed it on up. Oh, where'd she go? Here she go. Oh, got her. No, it ain't going to be like that. 30% of the day it will be, but I like that we're going to have to fish next year. Cannot wait. Cannot wait to at least feel like I'm getting back to how I was fishing 4 years ago. I'm not worried. I'm not running down the lake looking at guys out there in 20, 30, 40 feet of water in the middle of nothing being like, damn, is me running up here to skip this jig onto this dock like a complete waste of time? Like, am I just going to be behind the 8-ball the whole tournament? Don't really have to worry about that next year. Granted, it's still going to be in there. It's still going to be 30%, 33%, whatever. It's 3 hours of every day you're allowed to use it. You're still going to have to use it. You're still going to have to be able to utilize it. There's going to be tournaments where, like, you better be using it for that 30% to get those 1, 2, 3, maybe all 5 of your key fish off of it. But I'm ready to go back to fishing next year. I'm ready to just go fishing. I'm feeling good. Listen, I've come out of the gates firing so far. I'm happy about it. I feel like I'm fishing really good right now. Granted, I'm on my home lake. I guide here. I get it, whatever. But I took a few months off, got back into it, and everything was just flowing good. And I'm thinking well. I'm moving well. Not getting a lot of back pain, honestly. That kind of, depending on the tournament or where we're at or what we're doing, sometimes, you know, those long runs will beat the crap out of you, and back pain sets in at the end of the first day or the second day, and you know, it takes a toll. But now I have to worry about getting scope neck. I don't know. I'm just fishing good right now, and I'm happy about it, and I hope it doesn't change. It's going to, because it's life. It's inevitable. Like, you can't keep your foot on the gas 100% all the time and expect, you know, to just keep going straight. There's going to be speed bumps. There's going to be roundabouts. There's going to be stop signs that you got to deal with. But, I mean, hopefully mentally I can stay in it and keep fishing good. And hopefully this, you know, the rest of this year and all of next year goes well. But, all right, guys, I'm getting to the house. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It came out to be 52 minutes long. Good Lord. But I'm going to post this onto my regular YouTube so you guys can all watch it. Hope you liked it. Make sure there's no more comments. Hope you guys liked it, but I'm going to go eat some steak and some salad. Call it a night. All right, guys. See ya.